There we go. That's how we do it.
Good morning. Welcome to Sunrise Today with Katrina and
Jay. We reversed it today.
I can do that too.
You can do that today. You can.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here with us today.
I'm going to see if I can get that image of us back up there. And let's see. Come on, come on, come on. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Huh. Well,
that's all right.
That's okay.
We like the black screen.
We're going to have a black screen behind us today. As you can tell, we are incredibly prepared every time we're doing this.
Life happens, you know. We just keep going. Don't let it stop you.
That's exactly true. And isn't that how some people are? Sometimes they stop moving, they stop doing, they quit because sometimes they come to a point where it's like, okay, why am I even trying? Why am I even trying? I'm just going to stop. It's kind of like what we're talking about today, the law of the lid.
That's right.
When you reach your lid, you don't stop.
But when you're resilient, you keep going. When you know you're doing what God called you to do, you keep going.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So anyway, it was so great to be with you this week. A cold week for everybody.
Yes.
I think everybody in the country is suffering from cold or incredible bad weather. So bless you if you are home. Hey, tell you what, our prayers are with you if you're still without power, still without electricity and heat. So God's on his way. He's going to take care of it. Okay. So we're going to get started here. This is a continuation of what we started last week when we're going to be going through the Maxwell Leadership book based on, and I didn't have it last week, but I got it this time, based on the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, right? John's book that really is the catalyst for all things leadership in the global leadership team that we're on and share our life with. But John wrote his version of the Bible. You know,
he didn't write the Bible.
He didn't write. I said the version of it. He has a version.
It's a version of the Bible with leadership principles.
Listen, okay. They're going to witness a live
No, they're not.
domestic where I'm about to get my.
The Bible was written. John did not rewrite the Bible.
He didn't rewrite the Bible. That's not what I meant. And I think they understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is what his version.
John has a leadership Bible.
He has a leadership Bible
where he gathered all the leadership principles and he put them in the places they go in the Bible so we can follow along.
And he put elements of this in it. So
yes.
Anyway.
So get yours if you don't have them.
At www. Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You want to kick us off before you kick me off?
Maybe. As a kind of a recap, last week we looked at the lids that limited Saul, and there were several.
Should we recap what those were? Just
sure, recap those.
Yeah, without going into detail about each one. The lids that limited Saul, if you recall, and if you don't recall, if you weren't with us, please do go back and listen to the first one. And you'll see where I'm just as messed up in the first one as I am in this one. but the lids that limited Saul, King Saul, was that he had fear. And I want you to think about it. Is this possibly my lid? Is this what's keeping me from growing, advancing? Is this what's keeping me and my team from growing, advancing? There was the lid of fear, impatience, denial, impulsiveness, jealousy. Well, he showed that big time against David, and anger.
And deceit.
Oh, and deceit. I skipped one. Thank you.
That one was hiding.
I left that one for you. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so these were the lids that limited Saul's ability to lead effectively. For years, he was a great leader. He was a great king.
He was anointed.
He was anointed.
The first king, right?
Yeah, I believe so. So he was anointed by Samuel, anointed him to be king. And then it was time for a change. It was time for a change of command. And
because of those lids he had, right?
Those lids that he developed. I mean, coming up against the Palestinians, it was a big battle, and his lid was keeping him from advancing. Anyway, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the lids that did not limit David.
Yes.
Now, if you look back on those lids, you can say, well, David did not have the lid of fear. the lid of impatience, denial, impulsiveness, deceit, jealousy, and anger. He did not have those things.
I am so excited, though, to share. I mean, when we think about it, they both faced really scary things.
Mhm.
But where does, who's in charge of how things go in our lives? Is it me? Am I totally in charge of that? Or is there God that's leading and taking care of me? And when we put our faith and trust in God, we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to be afraid.
That's so true. And I was having that conversation with a gentleman yesterday. We was at the movie theater, actually, and a gentleman sitting next to me, and I was sharing
Yes,
with
they
him.
talked through a lot of the
We
movie.
didn't talk through the movie, okay? It was before it started. Well, anyway, moving on. The note to self: don't mention anything that she's going to rebut on it, okay? But so we were talking. He was telling me about some things going on in his life, and I was telling him how, you know, when we have that faith, that undeniable faith that God is there, God is in it, when we give it to him, we got to walk away from it because we know he has it. If we keep coming back to it, then what we're saying is, God, I know I gave this to you, but I think I'm just going to come and check. In other words, you can't be micromanagers of God's blessings. You give it to him, you walk away, and you trust in God. And we all have a tendency to not do that. When we continuously pray for the same thing constantly, you know, and say, you know, I believe that God hears our prayers and God does not forget. So, but when we're talking about David's lids, let's go on with David's lids.
I would
Why
love
don't you
that.
jump
I
on
just
that?
want to kind of share again, if you didn't listen to us last week, we were in 2 Samuel 5:1-4 last week.
And should we read that scripture again, you think?
You can, yeah, sure.
I think, yeah, let's do that again.
Because this was more than what we could fit in last week's show.
It really was. It really was. So, post-it note, good old post-it notes.
Not on stuck to his Bible.
Not stuck to the Bible. I better check. No, it's not stuck on the back of the Bible like it was last week. So 2 Samuel chapter 5, verses 1-4. Now, if you got your Bibles, read along with me. And your version may be different, but all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, "We are your own flesh and blood. In the past, while Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel on their military campaigns. And the Lord said to you, you will shepherd my people Israel, and you will become their ruler." And when all the elders of Israel had come to King David at Hebron, and I say Hebron, the king made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord, and they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem, he reigned over all Israel and Judah 33 years. So, caught you up on what the verse is. Take it away, Miss Kay.
So now we're going to go into the lids that David did not limit David. And the first was his family. You know, some people have some challenging relationships with their family.
Mm-hmm.
And David was not with an exception to that. And so David's limitations started at home. When Samuel asked Jesse to gather all of his sons so God could reveal the next king of Israel, no one thought to invite David. His brothers thought no better of him than did his father. When David visited the battlefront, they scorned him. When David spoke out against Goliath's blasphemy, his brothers insulted him and told him to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So all, at home from the time he was young, he had these limitations placed on him, them not believing that he was capable of doing anything than watching the sheep.
And isn't that the truth, that many times we have people in our lives that have put a lid on us? We're kind of like that mason jar. We know if you leave us open long enough, we're going to be able to come out. But instead, people come along, they put the lid on, and they want to keep us in that jar. And what happens? There's the experiment of fleas. If you put fleas in a jar and you put the lid on, after so long, you can take the lid off and they never jump higher than that lid because you have limited their ability to jump.
Put them in a very tiny jar.
Put them in a tiny jar. So they just do like this. Can't do it. So people will put a lid on you. The truth is, God didn't put a lid on David.
No,
God didn't put a lid on you. And other people recognize it in this instant, this particular instance. Samuel recognized this, but he didn't recognize it on his own accord. He recognized it because he followed God. And God told him, hey, Samuel, guess what? I got a new king. His name's David. Okay. And later they're going to create a musical out of it. But it's going to be David. And David was the one, but his family put a lid on him. You see, if you live into the belief that other people's lid, if you live into their lid on you, you will feel a level of insignificance that will carry on through your life, even once they're out of the picture. But if you live with the perspective and knowledge and knowing that God doesn't put a lid on any of us, and live into that. So God's always got a greater purpose. I love Jeremiah.
God's a lid lifter.
I love that. Lord's a lid lifter. Let's do all else. And but Jeremiah,
of course, all else.
Yeah.
If you listen to Jay very long, you're going to realize that he is going to do that a lot. He's going to have 3 L's or
3 P's or
whatever. He's going to always be able to find a word that will fit in there perfectly.
But Jeremiah 29:11 speaks that God knows the plans he has for you.
Absolutely.
Not David's brothers.
Right. Or father.
Or his father. Exactly. Right. Or his father. So.
Okay. And then the second lid that did not limit David was his leader. Saul continually tried to sabotage David's leadership and effectiveness. When David offered to fight Goliath, Saul told him, "You're not able to go against this Philistine to fight him." And that was in 1 Samuel 17:33. You want to read that for me?
Sure. 1 Samuel 17:33. I'll take my time so you guys can find it too. Okay, time's up.
We should start popping scriptures up. That would be better.
That would have been great had I been better prepared. And I will do that. Okay. 17:33 says that, I can find it here. There it is. Saul replied, "You are not able to go out against the Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth."
Mm-hmm.
And what is Saul saying here? Saul is judging David by his own eyes. He says, you cannot go up against the giant. You're not prepared because you don't have this experience to do this. How many of you knew that you could do something yet, even though you didn't have the experience to do it yet? Or maybe you saw something, you said, I know I can make a big, big, big difference in that, but I'm just a small fry.
It's his age and his stature, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he was using against him. Then Saul tried to put his heavy armor on the boy. He certainly wasn't going to use it. It's like heavier than he was. For many years, Saul tried repeatedly to kill David. And people may try to kill your vision,
mm-hmm.
your calling,
your character, your reputation,
right? Your ego,
yeah.
which we don't need anyway, right? We just need to know that it's God who's doing the work. And then his background is the other lid that did not limit David. Mm-hmm. David came from a family of poor shepherds. His father, Jesse, the Bethlehemite, that's a mouthful, lacked both lofty lineage and powerful position. David wasn't even the eldest son in the family. 7 older brothers all came before him. And as we know, that firstborn was always the chosen, right? Mm-hmm. They were the one that's going to step into that leadership. But God knew that wasn't the one. And God placed that calling on David. Go ahead.
Were you jumping into the next one?
I was, but you have something to say.
Yeah, I want to contribute on each one of those points there.
Yes, go ahead.
Can I do that?
You can.
Can I do that?
You can.
Okay. So on that, I want you to think about this. Jesse the Bethlehemite, I should have left that word alone, lacked both lofty lineage and powerful position. How many of you right now, by show of hands, can say that you are in a place of your life now that's far further ahead, maybe more successful than what you grew up in. Maybe you came from an environment, a background, a history that by all optics would have you in a statistic saying you would not be successful today. Maybe you would be poor. Maybe you would have been a criminal. Maybe you would have been a drunkard or something. But those aren't the things that you are today. This is something where people saw David and said, "Oh, you're from the lineage of Jesse. You guys, you're shepherds. Okay, how can you be king?" I mean, think about it. Shepherd, king. That's a big jump. Okay. But the thing was, God doesn't keep us where we were. God prepares us where we were to where we are today. And he's preparing us today for what we're yet to become.
Absolutely.
So you aren't even at the greatest pinnacle of your life yet if you're still breathing and watching this right now, because God's still got to say, "Hey, guess what? Guess what? Today, you think today's great? Ha! You wait till tomorrow. I got something better for you." Mm-hmm. And that's what he did with David. Said, he came from a lineage of Jesse. But I've got him here. So that's what I want to share in that. Absolutely. Go for it. Jump on that.
His youthfulness and inexperience. At the time anointed David, not Saul, at the time Samuel. Anointed, big difference. At the time Samuel anointed David, the boy had no experience leading anything but sheep. When he stepped forward to fight Goliath, others considered him only a youth, and he had never fought a wartime battle. Time and again, people underestimated and disrespected him.
Mm-hmm. And that is so true. Like I was just saying a minute ago, people will judge us and underestimate us in our history, in our past. Maybe you don't come from a great family. Maybe you don't come from prestige or, success. Maybe you're the first person to actually go to college in your family, in a long line. For me, I'm the only person in my long family that joined the military, and went on. But, there's always a first. Why not be the first? Why not be the one that breaks that mold and breaks that expectations that other had of you that wants to hold you back and keep you back? And so in this, his youthfulness and his inexperience, was a lid that we would put on him. But God didn't see that. He saw something greater.
He didn't. And David trusted God. And he was also enraged that this Philistine would come out and mock God. Mm-hmm. And he knew what his God could do because of the lion and the bear that he had helped David to kill.
He's had evidence of proof.
Yeah, he knew it, and he trusted God. So what in your life do you need to trust God with? Because I'm sure that in the past he's helped you through something. He's there to help you in the future as well.
Okay.
Do you have something on that other than that?
Other than no, I don't really.
Do you want to do this one?
Sure, absolutely. So John Maxwell goes on to write in his commentary about this particular scripture. The story is the one who lifted the lid.
Yes.
Okay. Ultimately, David became a great leader, yet not because he lacked limitations in life, as we all sometimes think we have. We do have limitations. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But somebody can lift those limitations. Yes. Not because he lacked limitations in life. He achieved much because he became a lid lifter. Ooh, let's say that again. Because he became a lid lifter. We'll have to try that harmony next time. And every leader has lids on his and her life. Nobody is born without a lid. Everybody has a lid. You mentioned that last week. Everybody has a lid, okay? And they don't disappear when a person receives a title, achieves a position, or gets invested with power. The issue is not whether you have lids, because you do. We all have a lid. But what are you going to do about that lid? Mm-hmm. Imagine the one flea that could have said, wait a minute, I know I'm more capable than the lid that's been placed upon me. When that lid gets off from above us, I want you guys to watch. And what's going to happen? He's going to jump. He's going to jump. He's going to jump. He's going to keep jumping until he finally gets out. When he jumps, guess what? Just like the Israelites did, they followed David, right? When David
Yes.
When David conquered Goliath, when that little flea jumped high enough, okay, and he conquered Goliath, Israelites didn't have the fear anymore. You see, they had fear induced into them because King Saul was fearful. He was scared. And when your leader is scared, and trust me, in the military, if the leader is scared, if the leader is timid, if the leader is reluctant, the people will also be. And David said, wait a minute. I don't have a lid. God don't put a lid on top of me. I'm jumping out of this. And they followed him. The Israelites followed them to conquer the Palestinians.
And I think too, as we mentioned, Saul had been the greatest warrior and had fought so many battles.
And he had record in history of that.
He had that. He had evidence of winning in battles. And he was a brave soldier for a long time. But when you drift from God, or you go in your own power, that isn't going to work out well for you. And so Saul had opportunity to turn back to God, but he didn't, and he didn't listen to the wisdom of Samuel. And so he was rightly so that he was afraid to go into battle. On his own, he could not do that, but he would not have had to go on his own had he been in alignment with God.
Yeah.
And David knew he was in alignment with God. He knew what his God could do.
Yeah. David's kind of like, look, don't limit me. I know what I can do.
Don't limit my God.
And don't limit my God. Don't limit my God. I can do all things through Christ. David believed that. David said, I don't need your shield. I don't need your armor. I don't need your spear. I don't need a helmet. All I need is what I know. And what I know is God's got me.
Get those little stones.
Got those stones. He's got those stones, right? And what an incredible story. And I think it's a great story to reflect on for our personal and professional lives, is as we look at that, say, okay, what is holding me back right now? What's holding me back? I know in my mind I can succeed. I know in my mind I can see what that success looks like. If it's in business, if it's in relationships, if it's in your leadership where you're at now, if it's in your family, what are the things that I believe are holding me back? If you can identify what's holding you back, if you can identify what that lid is that limited Saul, what is that lid that's holding me back? With God, you can conquer that lid. And once you do, you become the example that others are willing to go into battle with. And that's a beautiful story, I believe, of this lesson.
It is.
All right, friends, that's going to do it for us. I tell you what, don't forget to go to YouTube, like and subscribe to that page. It is a great page. It's a fun page. We have our stuff on there. And I tell you what, it's just, we just would love for you to go there and subscribe and get the word out. We also have a Facebook page. You can find it by the same name and go and like that. And once you do, we can start doing videos on that page. And so, yes. So you have any closing statements?
Have a blessed week.
Have a blessed week.
And be a lid lifter.
Be a lid lifter. Be a lid lifter.
That was a little hard to say.
That was. Lid lifter. Okay. All right, guys. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.